Ladies and gentlemen, the reality is that most people have no idea whether they're getting a good lease or finance deal when they're shopping for a new car, and that's exactly why we built the DriveMatch Calculator. And today I'm going to show you how the DriveMatch Calculator works and how it can save you money using a 2026 BMW X5 as an example, but this works for every new car for sale in the country. It doesn't have to be a BMW X5. With the DriveMatch Calculator, you'll never miss out on an incentive or a rebate again. On top of that, it's going to pull all current offers from every single manufacturer's captive bank. It's also going to pull base APRs if you intend to finance. It's going to pull the base money factor if you intend to lease. It's also going to pull the residual values if you intend to lease. And there is no other product on the market that allows you to do this. It's literally allowing you to pull the same data that dealerships pull when they structure deals at the dealership. We priced it at $20 a month and you get unlimited VIN lookups. So it's great for comparison shopping and great for structuring your own lease or finance deals at home before you actually go out and shop. And what's really powerful is the DriveMatch Calculator lets you compare leasing and financing side by side so you can decide which option is the right choice for you. And don't worry, I'll show you my personal process and how I personally decide whether leasing or financing is the better option. If you want to start using the DriveMatch Calculator, you can go to the link in the description or you can go to drivematch.com. But with that, let's go ahead and jump into the computer behind me and structure the deal on this BMW X5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here I am on the BMW Northwest website. It's a BMW dealership that's located very close to where I live. I am not affiliated with this dealership in any way, but in a hypothetical situation, let's just say that I'm shopping for this particular car. It's a 2026 BMW X5 xDrive40. It's a very popular trim amongst the different X5 models. And let's just say that this car has all the features that I'm looking for. It's the color that I want, and I want to see what the finance payment's going to be, and I want to compare it to what the lease payment's going to be, and I want to know what the residual values are going to be if I lease it, and the base APRs, and if there are any special financing programs, okay? So all I'm going to do is find the VIN number. The VIN number for this particular car is located right here. They've made it really easy with this copy button. I've copied the VIN number, and then I'm going to go to the DriveMatch Calculator. I'm going to keep it on lease for now, but if you just want to finance, you can select finance. I'm going to keep it on lease. Now you can search the vehicle or just enter the VIN number. Entering the VIN number is the easier way, in my opinion. I've pasted the VIN number, click on submit VIN. And then what I'm going to do is just bring over the MSRP. So I just need to see what the MSRP is on this BMW. It's $76,075. So I'll go ahead and type that in, 76,075. Now for the discount, I'm just going to leave this blank for now. And you'll see that the next thing that we need to do is pull the lease programs. Now these are going to be the different finance programs, and they can vary region to region. So I'm going to enter my zip code, which is 98101, and then I'm going to just click on get programs. Now you'll see that it's pulled new vehicle special lease rates, the 39-month lease rate, and the standard lease rates. If you want to see the details of these lease rates, you can just click on these purple boxes here and you'll see the equivalent APRs, the money factors, and the terms, and these are directly from BMW US National, right? So I know from experience that the 39-month lease rate is going to be the best lease rate for me. So I'm just going to click on 39-month lease rate and click on 39-month lease residual. And then I'm going to select a term. Now, since I selected a 39-month term, the only term available is 39 months. And, you know, if I, for example, if I went with the new vehicle special lease rates and clicked on lease residuals, I'd have a 24-month term, a 30-month term to choose from, a 36 and a 42. But since I selected 39, there's only a 39-month term available. So let's go ahead and select 39 months. So I'm going to do 39 months, and let's say I want to drive 12,000 miles a year. You'll see that the DriveMatch Calculator has automatically pulled in the residual value, which is 51%. And it's also pulled in the base money factor directly from BMW Financial, which is 0.0019, which is equivalent to a 4.56% APR. All you do is multiply this number by 24, and that gives you 4.56% APR. Now, another great thing about the DriveMatch Calculator is it's going to pull all of your incentives and rebates, so you'll never miss out on a rebate again. So many people shop and they miss out on rebates, and then once you sign the paperwork, you can't really apply the rebate. So here are all the rebates that are available for leasing, okay? We have this military rebate, we have a loyalty rebate, we have an employee rebate. It looks like we have a corporate sales program rebate. So this is going to be for corporate employees, to my guess. And then we have a lease credit. I don't qualify for any of these rebates. I believe I qualify for this one, so let's assume that I qualify for this $1,000 rebate. You can read the details here. So it says eligibility, the contracts must be through BMW Financial Services. I believe it's bonus cash. I believe that I would qualify for this. So let's make the assumption, the educated assumption that I qualify for this $1,000 rebate. You'll see that the acquisition fee automatically pulls in. It's $925. And then the dealer fee is going to vary from dealer to dealer. These are going to be like things like for like documentation fee. It could be probably for BMW between $500 and $1,000. Let's just go with $800. I think that's a conservative estimate. And then for title, license, and registration, I'm just going to go with 1% of the MSRP. So again, let's be conservative and let's do $800. Title, license, registration is quite expensive here in the state of Washington. And then you'll see that the tax rate's already pulled in 10.25% based on my zip code. And then the next section, we select the due at signing amount. So how much money do you want to put down and how do you want to structure your due at signing? So you have sign and drive, you have first month's payment down, you can do a custom payment or you can do a one pay. I like to go with a first month's payment down. I'm very comfortable with that and I love structuring leases where I put the first month's down and then my ongoing payment is the same amount that I put down. So as you can see here in the upper right hand corner, my lease, my pre-tax monthly payment is $1,225, and then my monthly payment, final monthly payment is going to be $1,351, and then my total due at signing is going to be $1,351 because I wanted to put the first month's due at signing. Now, the next thing I like to do in this calculator, as if you remember, I left the discount blank. Now I like to make some assumptions, okay? So it's the monthly payment's $1,351 with no discount. Okay, with a 5% discount, my monthly payment goes to $1,235. With a 6% discount, a monthly payment goes to $1,212. I'm going to leave this at 5%. I think that's a pretty good target. So let's leave that at 5%, which is $3,803 off of MSRP. Okay, so now we have our lease deal structured. Now let's go ahead and structure our finance deal. All we're going to do is go up here and click on finance, and you'll see that the VIN number carried over, the vehicle make and model carried over, the MSRP carried over, the discount carried over, and the selling price carried over as well. Now we need to pull the finance programs because lease and finance programs, they differ. So let's go ahead and click on get finance programs. And now it's pulled all of the finance programs that are available to me based on my zip code. We have the military select rates, which I don't qualify for. We have a 48-month special APR rate. So this is this calculator, maybe you wouldn't have known about this 48-month special APR rate. If you click on it, you can do 48 months at 0.9%, which is fantastic. Then you have your standard retail rates. So we're looking at 72 months at 6.09%. And then we have our new vehicle special retail rates, 72 months at 2.49%. So I'm going to just click on new vehicle special retail rates. I'm going to do a 72-month term. You can see that the 2.49% automatically pulled in. And so what happens is sometimes dealers will mark this APR up or they'll mark up the money factor. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but the DriveMatch Calculator does provide you with transparency. So you know exactly what the base APR is, and then you can make the final judgment on what you think is fair or not, okay? So we have a 2.49% APR. Now it's going to pull all the finance and cash incentives. So finance and leasing have different incentives. As you can see, we have a lot more incentives here. Unfortunately, these three here are all military rebates. Then we have a loyalty rebate. So this is for somebody who's already currently owns a BMW themselves or in their household. Then we have some employee rebates here. These three are all employee rebates. So it looks like I'm not going to qualify for any of the rebates. Now the dealer fee carried over of $800, the registration fee of $800 carried over as well. And the tax rate also pulled over from when we filled it out for leasing. Now, in terms of down payment, it's assuming a $0 down payment. I just like to match it up to the lease. So with the lease, we're putting $1,235 down. And that way you can just compare apples to apples. So I'm just going to put this to 3.5. So $1,235 down. And now you'll see here on the right-hand side that my monthly finance payment is going to be $1,199 a month. So about $36 less than the lease with the same money down. Now, with financing, you're typically going to have to put more money down. realistically, you're gonna have to put probably $5,000, maybe $10,000 down, depending on your credit. But with leasing, doing first month's payment is totally doable as long as you have tier 1 credit. First month's payment is totally doable. But anyways, this just gives us a apples to apples comparison. So you'll see that, with leasing this particular car, you're really not saving that much money. Like sometimes, the difference between leasing and financing can be substantial, right? It can be like a 30 to 40% difference. But here we're pretty much comparing apples to apples. Now the finance is not going to include gap insurance, whereas the lease is going to include gap insurance. So you're looking at, with the same, assuming the same down payment, you're looking at the same monthly payment. So over a 39-month term, you're not going to really save a lot of money by leasing this car. But now what it really comes down to is how long do you plan on keeping this car? So if we're doing a 72-month term and you plan on keeping this BMW X5 for, let's say, 6, 7, 8, 9 years or longer, then I would finance it, okay? You're gonna end up paying a lot less out of pocket. If you want the flexibility of a lease and you think in 39 months is plenty of time for you, that's all the time you keep your cars and you want it under warranty, I would go with the lease because number one, you're going to end up paying a lot less out of pocket. But the great thing is that in 39 months, you can just turn your car back into the dealership and you're not worried about negative equity, right? Negative equity is when you owe more on your loan than what your car is worth. So if you end up financing this car and you want to go trade it in 2 years time or 3 years time or in 39 months, what typically happens is when people put $2,000, $3,000, a minimal amount down, you're going to be $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, maybe $10,000 upside down. So maybe the vehicle's value is going to be $40,000, but you still owe, let's say, $50,000, $52,000 as an example. That would mean that you're $10,000 to $12,000 upside down in your loan, and leasing really protects you from that. So if you finance this car, you're going to have the same monthly payment. You're going to put the same amount of money down, but then when you go to turn your car in 3 years, you may owe an additional $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 depending on how much negative equity you have. And I'm assuming there is going to be negative equity, but with leasing, you just turn this car in and you're not worried about that negative equity. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to how long you plan to keep this car. If you're going to keep it for the 39 months, I would definitely lease it. If you want to keep it for 6, 7, 8, 9 years or longer, I would go with financing this car. And that's how I would approach this. And if you want to run my 1.25% rule of leasing on this particular X5, all you do is, this is just a lease metric that I use to determine whether a lease is a good deal or not. All you do is take the effective monthly payment, which is $1,235, and divide that by the vehicle's MSRP, which is $76,075, and then you just multiply it by 100. Now, typically, anytime you get a number over 1.5%, which this is at 1.62%, that typically is a vehicle that I would rather finance instead of lease, because the financial benefit of leasing is kind of negated. As you can see, the payments are very similar. Under 1.5% is a good lease deal. Under 1.25% is what I consider a great lease deal, and under 1% is an amazing lease deal in terms of value. But even though this is over 1.5%, if I were personally buying this car, I know that I'm not keeping it for 7, 8, 9 years or longer. I would just like to keep it for the 39 months and not worried about the negative equity, drive it under warranty, not worry about gap insurance. So for me personally, leasing would still be the route to go. Now, if you have any additional questions on leasing versus financing, or any additional questions about the DriveMatch Calculator, please let me know in the comment section below. Again, you can use the DriveMatch Calculator by visiting the link in the description or by going to DriveMatch.com. I think it's a very, very powerful tool when used correctly, and it really gives you a lot of leverage and a lot of transparency and a lot of insight, and it lets you structure lease deals and finance deals exactly like a car dealership would. But anyways, if you have any questions, let me know. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.